Acute rheumatic fever is a condition that affects a lot of tissues in the body, but particularly the heart valves. And so children, a few weeks after getting an infection with a bug called strep, can get quite sick and they have to go to hospital. They have fevers and swollen joints. And if you have a bad attack of rheumatic fever, or if you have lots of attacks of rheumatic fever because of lots of strep infections, that's called rheumatic heart disease. In Australia, we have the shameful record of having one of the populations that has amongst the highest rates in the world of rheumatic fever and rheumatic heart disease. And that's our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander population, especially those living in rural and remote settings. There are more than 40 million people in the world with rheumatic heart disease right now. It kills more than 300,000 people every year, almost all of them in a developing country or in a population like the Aboriginal population. It's been one of the holy grails for years to have a much better way of diagnosing acute rheumatic fever. We are very excited by this Leducq Foundation grant because a range of organisations have been working on the background work to get a diagnostic test for rheumatic fever for a few years. We've got collaborations here in Australia with New Zealand and with people in Africa, and we've started to get the background information that says, you know what, we can do this. We can get a diagnostic test using modern technologies. We'll be conducting a lot of the science here. We'll also be supporting sites around the world where kids with rheumatic fever or kids with other conditions will actually be enrolled in the study, where samples will be collected, where data will be collected, and obviously those kids will get access to the best treatment as well. And we'll be helping to manage that. In particular, all those samples will be coming here, and we'll be managing what's called a biobank so that they're all carefully identified and stored and then sent to the laboratories around the world that will be doing the high-tech laboratory tests. This Leducq Foundation grant, I am very confident in 5 years' time will allow us to actually have a diagnostic test for rheumatic fever. That's a big call. We often say in 5 years' time we'll have X, and usually we're not that confident. I am very confident because we know from our preliminary research that we can do this. In 10 years' time, I would hope that the diagnostic test is used throughout the world and that we are starting to see a reduction in the number of kids who go on to develop rheumatic heart disease, and that would be enormous. That's something we've not been able to do. We've seen this ongoing epidemic of rheumatic heart disease, and we're seeing hundreds of thousands of kids die each year as a result, and I want to see those numbers come down.